Okay, let me make this video kind of quick, but I definitely want to spend a little more time kind of looking at the crashes and errors that Fallout 4 has. I'm pretty sure this goes back to a lot of Bethesda games, since it looks like that, like for example, let's say that you break your game down into functional components, right? Let's say you have your physics component, and in the rendering component, you may have your background, your NPCs, shadow, previs. You have those. Each thing is a different component. I think they kept the components the same, like rendering landscape and grass. They kept it. They kept the components functionality the same, but they changed the code. So they may not have noticed particular problems that may or may not arise. And I know that a lot of times, like people who buy the game or users will report specific problems. And I have, to be honest with you, I have no clue why they wouldn't fix it. To me, it seems like a matter of pride. Taking pride in what you produce, and what how you kind of treat or believe in the consumer who believes in your product. But I don't want to really get into that too much. Okay, so let me show you something that I found that was kind of interesting. All right, I'm going to show. I'm still working on this stuff. I've got some coding I want to do tonight because I'm going to have plenty of time to do it here. But these are all the errors that ever occurred, or at least that occurred when I was recording them with or without this software. And you can see there's quite a few of them. But you notice that, now this was a while back. This was 2001. So we're in 2003 or 23 now. So, or 2021, and 2021, 2023. So there's at least 3 years worth of errors, or maybe not. Well, not quite, because that's the end of 2021. So about 2 years worth of errors. And this is adding mods, taking away mods, putting in mods that are broken, putting in mods that conflict, putting in mods that have bad data, bad load orders, God, you name it. A lot of this, it might be updating mods where scripts get changed, change variables, changes the footprint of the actual script itself. So all those things can add up to this. But if you take a look, other than 409, which I don't think I have anything with that one. Let's see if that works. No, that one doesn't work. I probably have it coded this way, but these are like fatal errors or something weird. That may be like a buffer overflow or something. I forget. But the majority of the errors, if you take a look at them, I either had a 409, but the majority of them are fives, which I believe is exception access violation. You'd have to look up the exception code, but this was a while back. And if you notice, the majority of these, I believe 401 is buffer overrun, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what that is. So this happened because something got caught in a loop. It's some kind of recursive call, and it basically filled it up. It filled up the stack, and then it just wonked out. But if you look, like almost all of them are exception violations. So somewhere the engine either lost track of data, it was trying to access data that was no longer there, had a zero reference. So a data field had zero in it. So when it went to use that as a reference to another data structure, it actually accessed memory location 0, and that's a no-no. But that's what you see here. But what's interesting is, and I noticed I was getting like a ton of crashes, which was exception stack overflow. Now, these are very interesting because when you look at these, when I started getting these, and these were in 2023, this was in October, here's what these were. I didn't even get a full, if you look, I didn't even get a full buff out log. Like normally the buff out will print like, stack patches, it'll print like your plugins that are loaded, all that stuff. It never made it that far. And if you look at the next one, next time that popped up, same thing, right? So I didn't even get. Oh, well, no, this one's different. I apologize. So that one actually made it. Was that the? Oh, that wasn't Stack Overflow, right? So now let's take a look at a Stack Overflow. So we have to look at the buff out log. See, again, every time I got a Stack Overflow, buff out, it didn't even give me a full report. So something was happening either with buff out itself or something was happening earlier on. And I mean, it was constant, right? So up here, before that, I believe I think let's do it this way. It'll be easier. Notice I got divide by 0. I believe, and this caused me all kinds of headaches. This was actually the beginning of the headaches because I didn't know what was causing this. And I think I finally isolated it down to a screen resolution and reshade maybe. Because once I updated reshade a couple times, this no longer happened. But it's almost like under a certain version of reshade, it because reshade hooks the operating system. So I don't know if something else tried to hook it, or not sure what was going on with this. But I only got this when I went full screen. And I tried to set the resolution. I think it was 5280 by 1440 because that's what this monitor is. So I think that's when I got these. But like I say, you can see I don't have any more of them. So I think that was I think this was a reshade issue somehow. Somewhere with screen resolution or something. But down here, I got these Stack Overflows, right? Could not for the life of me figure out what this was. All right, so I have no idea what the Stack Overflow was. And there was actually a bunch of them because you can see them all highlighted now. So there's a ton of these. Well, what I did was I did what they usually recommend is to try to binary figure out what the problem was and what it was. And all of these particular errors, these 005s, if you look over here, you can actually see where I have a little note. See, the crash during console help chart, that was interesting because I went to look up something and it crashed out. Now I got loose file stream, and I have an idea about this too. I can add another idea to the pot, and I think it's related to the previous pre-combined system. All right, but anyways, let's take a look at loop as crash on menu. That was where I went back to the main menu. While I think loot detector was actually trying to highlight stuff when I went back to the main menu, so all of the references were cleared from memory. So that crashed, right? So you have these NPCs laying down. It's trying to apply a shader effect, but I'm right back at the main menu because I got killed. So I think that there was a brief moment where the script was running in a loop and it didn't know that we went back to the main screen, and therefore, of course, when we went back to the main screen, it had, I believe, released all of the references, but it was still trying to use it, so that wonked out. I removed DTF. That was the thing that actually adds damage threshold to armor. That was the one that was causing the problem. Now, in and of itself, I've used this for a while. It didn't cause a problem, but I think because I have MAME, I've got MAME in here. Let's see, I've got MAME. I've got, let's go down here. I've got Advanced Needs 76. And there's one more that I was checking out. Let's see. See, there's Advanced Needs, and then there's MAME, and I'm trying the new one, Direct Hit. So I took out Better Locational Damage because I had that in there, and that was giving me some problems, but that might have been related to Damage Threshold Framework, DTF. But I took that out because I was trying to locate the problem, and man, it took me a while to track down. But if you notice, when I shot an NPC, so I made a note that it crashed when I was shooting an NPC. Loose file stream. This was when I tried to force the power on MCM using Workshop Framework, so that's a bad reference somehow. But shooting a ghoul. Backpack crash, that was my fault. I referenced a bad NIF, so that was nothing major. But see, crash here. Now, when you get up into here, you see where it has these really weird errors, these B multi-bound AABB, all right, and B portal graph graph entry. All right, well, there's even more. So if we go over here and take a look at load order summary. Let's take a look at the load order prior to this, right? So we want to look at the history. And towards the bottom, let's see if it... See, I got the TES topic. I think I had too many topics in there. I actually removed a lot of these, so... But notice, see, I had... A lot of my crashes were just... Now, this is the one where it got some kind of... It was before the loading screen even came up. I think this had to do something with reshade. But a lot of these would be like, when I shot something, it crashed. Ghoul attacked a player. You know, this started as... You know, the ghoul was going to smack me, basically. Crashed. So, I believe that was... DTF. So I had multiple problems. And I believe with DTF, it was a conflict with MAME, Advanced Needs 76, or something. Because I didn't add direct hit until later. So that was a conflict. Once I took DTF out, which is the I don't think I have it here. Let's see. Yeah, I completely uninstalled it. So once I took that out, let's see if that's under damage. Yeah, there. So I disabled it. So I've got the DSL. I got the DLL disabled, so it's not being loaded. I did not have that problem anymore. So I have not got a single crash. If you take a look at the current load order, right, which we can do by clicking this. Once I took it out, you notice that there's really not here down to here. So we're looking at from here all the way down to here. So you can see that it's more stable. Now, if we look, I actually removed the errors from the log over here. I removed these errors from here so you won't see them. But if we go down to the bottom, you'll actually see, let's see, some of these I'd have to look up in the buff out log to see what it is. Let's take a look at this one. I can probably take a look at this access violation. Let's do it this way. So here's what I think was happening with loose file streams and this garbage. If you notice, see how it has TES reference, and also it has, like, it looks like it, you know, you thought, well, okay, it's going to be that. But what was causing this, and there was even more errors showing up that I'd never seen before. Shadow, there was something about shadow something. Man, it was all over the map. What that was I had the version 69 of PRP. So I think that somehow, here's what I think is happening. I think somehow when the previs geometry data is generated, because you have the previs and then you have like two different files. I forget the names of them, but you have two different kinds, like a CTG, I think, and something else, like a viz or something. I think there is a disjoint between the two. And when that happens, the previs system is hitting an error. And when it hits an error, it's not releasing one of the files, because I would get loose file streams. I don't have those now. I actually went to, because you notice I was getting an error, like this was after, like, of course that was like 10 hours. And something that might be just me idling while I would go off and do something. But I was lucky to get, you know, that much time before there was a crash. So now I'm at 12 hours without any problems. And before, like, it was, God, 4 hours, you know, 8 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour, you know, 21 minutes. So I was getting these constantly. But see, multi-bounce, when you look at this, you're like, well, I don't even know what the heck this is supposed to mean. What I did was I'm using the new version of PRP. So when I put the new version in here, let me see which one it is. Let me find, let's see if it's under PRP. All right, it's, it's the, well, I actually fibbed. I'm using the new version of 69. So I upgraded from the previous version to the new version. Let me see if I can find this in... I don't see it on the manifest. So what are we looking for here? 5292. Let's try this. Alright, so... where's the next occurrence? Here we go. So you can see when I put it in here, and I don't really have so you can see when I did this. So I'd have to go back and take a look. So I went back here and took a look at the date stamps. I did get one here. It was let's see what time. So I installed the new version of 65 or 69, 69 5.1.5.1, and I did it at what 3:36. So loose file stream hit at not quite what 1, almost 2 o'clock, and then I got one again. So I think, and there is still some broken previs in there, but I haven't seen any recently. So I'm thinking, because this actually kicked back and said it was related to PRP. So I'm thinking that somehow there's bad data, or somehow there's disjointed data, and the previs system is leaving something open, like it's supposed to open NIFs or textures or something. It's encountering a problem, and then it doesn't release all of the resources, or has a strange condition where it's leaving one or something open, and then when it goes to reopen it, it can't do it because it's already open, or whatever the heck loose file stream means. So I wanted to show you that like I said, it was a shadow. It was some really weird stuff that popped up, which was due to previs. I don't have those anymore. So all of that is gone. So because this is where I think, I want to say, let's see, did I update it again? I might have updated it again. I'll have to take a look because I don't want to tell you incorrectly, but I wonder if I can look up PRP. Let's see, from this point forward, or where we go from. I think it's going to go from the top. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it went from the top. All right, let me have this. Let's see, when was this? Let's go back down. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. So it could have been previs related to, like, not so much Caves of the Commonwealth, but maybe Subways or something. Let's see when I installed that. Yeah, see, that was at 11.3. So over here, I got one at 11.1, and I got one at 11. No, that's Crash Drinks thing. So yeah, no. So yeah, I only got one around 11.1. So after I installed this right here, I haven't seen it again. And you can clearly tell, like, there were really broken precombines, like, because some of the mods I have their own little precombine files, but they're not really jiving together. So I still have one in Diamond City. It's the I think it's the, I believe it is the, not the, it might be this, I believe it's the Subways of the Commonwealth. At first I thought it was the sewers, but I believe it's the Subways. That's what I put in there. So some areas it's still broken, but not as bad. Like, it was broken really bad in Diamond City, like really bad. And I think that's where that loose file stream was coming from. So even though you can have bad references, bad data, poorly written code, not properly tested code, or whatever the case might be, where you have one function that does one thing, but Bethesda uses it for 30 different things because they broke the function down into actual steps, which means if you try to do the same thing, it'll actually break the function because it's on glass anyways. But that's what I found it to be. So DTF was a conflict because it patches, it probably hooks the operating system or has a DLL that hooks in using Script Extender. I'm pretty sure that was a conflict. I took that out. Now whenever I get hit, or when I shoot or hit something else, it does not crash. Now, loose file streams, I haven't given up on that because I'm sure it could be multiple things, but I believe like some of that's related to previs or preconfine, because once I updated I think it was that Subways, or was another one. I'd have to really take a look. I just got home from work, so but I wanted to throw this in there just so you could see, to give you some more ideas where some of the potential problems are coming from. So hope that helps, and good luck with your game.